Have you ever poured everything into something only to be let down by the very tools you were given? That's exactly what happened to Lewis Hamilton in Brazil. The 7-time world champion gave it all, and the Ferrari SF-25 gave him nothing in return. And just when you thought things couldn't get worse, his own teammate's spin ended his shot at redemption. Add an FIA investigation into the mix, and it was nearly a total disaster. But what exactly went wrong with Ferrari's car? Why was Hamilton so furious behind the scenes? And could this be the turning point for his trust in Maranello? Let's get into it. Brazil 2025 should have been a turning point. A technical track, a sprint weekend, and rain looming on the radar, the exact conditions where Lewis Hamilton's racecraft has historically shone. But within a few painful minutes of sprint qualifying, everything unraveled. The frustration wasn't random. It was years of precision and expectation crushed under the weight of an uncooperative machine. The SF-25 didn't just underperform, it betrayed him when it mattered most. Right from SQ1, something felt off. The car was twitchy under braking and reluctant on turn-in, especially into Ferradura and Juancao. Hamilton's feedback was clinical but cold, zero confidence. He managed to drag the car into SQ2, but he was fighting every corner. It wasn't just a poor setup. It was a car that fundamentally refused to behave. A car that no longer trusted its driver or earned his trust in return. And then came the moment. Leclerc's spin at turn 12 threw up double yellows. Hamilton, just meters from starting his final lap, had to lift. His best shot gone in an instant. Eliminated from SQ2 by just 70 thousandths of a second. A result not decided by pace, but by luck. And if that wasn't enough, the FIA opened an investigation suggesting he may not have slowed enough. The insult followed the injury. Imagine being Lewis Hamilton in that moment. A 7-time world champion, already pushing a car that's working against you, only to see your session ended by your own teammate's error. Then, to top it off, nearly getting penalized for trying to stay within the rules. That's not just frustrating, that's infuriating. But Hamilton didn't explode. He didn't blame. He simply waited for the data to prove what he already knew. He had done nothing wrong. The FIA, to their credit, eventually saw the truth. Hamilton wasn't on a hot lap. He had lifted. He respected the rules. The result? A formal reprimand, but no penalty. Still, the damage was done not to his record, but to Ferrari's credibility. Another session wasted. Another opportunity lost. And Hamilton, once again, left to explain why one of the most iconic teams in motorsport can't give him the basics. Now, heading into the final races of the season, a bigger question looms. How many more weekends like this can Hamilton endure before he questions the entire project? The problem isn't his pace. It's the platform beneath him. Brazil proved the SF-25 isn't just slow, it's untrustworthy. And Lewis Hamilton, for all his talent and calm, is running out of patience. Lewis Hamilton didn't explode in public, but behind closed doors, the frustration was palpable. The SF-25 isn't just flawed, it's unpredictable. It punishes aggressive inputs, resists fine-tuning, and demands compromise in every corner. And for a driver like Hamilton, who thrives on confidence and precision, it's a nightmare. What happened in Brazil wasn't a one-off. It was the culmination of an entire season spent wrestling with a machine that fights back. Interlagos exposed Ferrari's limitations brutally. The low-speed sections require mechanical grip and front-end responsiveness, two qualities the SF-25 has failed to deliver all year. Hamilton tried multiple setup tweaks, ride height adjustments, differential changes, front wing angles. But every solution came with a new trade-off. Stabilizing the rear made the car lazy on turn-in. Increasing rotation made the rear snappy on exit. There was no balance point, just a moving target. And that's what pushed Hamilton to the edge. He's not just competing against Verstappen, Norris, or Russell. He's battling a car that doesn't evolve with him. Every weekend starts from scratch. No carryover confidence. No foundational baseline. When he gets out-qualified by teammates or midfielders, it's not because he's lost speed, it's because he's spending more time surviving the car than maximizing it. Ferrari's engineers know it too. They've admitted off the record that the SF-25's platform is too narrow in terms of operating window. It performs well only in very specific conditions: medium speed corners, low track temps, and perfect tire prep. Anything outside of that, and the car's balance collapses. In Brazil, with the newly resurfaced track and sprint format compressing setup time, the SF-25 never had a chance to stabilize. For Hamilton, this is more than just car behavior. It's about broken expectations. He didn't come to Ferrari to be patient, he came to win. And when the car he's been promised as a title contender can't even reach Q3 on a sprint weekend, the pressure shifts from technical to personal. His feedback in the garage was calm but firm. He wanted answers, not excuses. Ferrari didn't have them. The bigger issue? Time. The 2025 season is nearly over, and the SF-25 hasn't delivered a single win. Meanwhile, rivals like McLaren and Aston Martin are evolving fast. Hamilton knows that every race like Brazil sets the project back further. He's not just racing the grid, he's racing Ferrari's future. And right now, that future looks increasingly uncertain. The core failure of Ferrari's SF-25 isn't visible on the surface, it lies in how the car responds when pushed to the edge. Built on a concept that promised aerodynamic efficiency and rear-end stability, the reality has been the opposite. In high-pressure environments like sprint qualifying, the car behaves like it's afraid of its own speed. And Hamilton is being forced to overdrive it just to stay in contention. Ferrari tried to create a car that was forgiving for both drivers. But in doing so, they designed a platform that lacks adaptability. The SF-25 is extremely sensitive to surface temperature, fuel loads, and even wind direction. When everything aligns, it can look competitive. But the moment those variables shift as they did in Brazil, it becomes impossible to drive aggressively. It understeers into slow corners, snaps mid-corner, and refuses to give clean exits under power. Hamilton's strength is not just speed, it's the ability to adapt mid-session. In Brazil, while others were focused on lines and braking points, Lewis was trying to reset the car's behavior lap by lap. His steering inputs were softer, throttle application staggered, even his braking into turn 1 was modified to shift balance forward, all to give him some level of predictability. That's not driving fast. That's damage control at an elite level. The engineering data backs it up. On telemetry, Hamilton's brake trace into turn 4 was smoother than any other driver in a top team, not because he wanted to be, but because the car couldn't handle a sharper load. Ferrari's ride-height compromise, which was meant to reduce bottoming on the new Interlagos surface, instead destroyed the car's floor efficiency and left him with a bouncing, unstable platform under deceleration. And yet, despite these limitations, he was within fractions of reaching SQ3. He wasn't happy, but he wasn't broken. That's the difference between Lewis Hamilton and almost every other driver on the grid. He can carry a flawed car to within tenths of the best machinery. But doing it every weekend is exhausting physically and mentally, and it's not sustainable. He's not just managing tires or fuel, he's managing Ferrari's indecision. Hamilton's ability to extract performance from underperforming cars has never been in doubt. But 2025's story isn't about brilliance. It's about survival. Ferrari's failure to give him a stable platform has turned every qualifying into a rescue mission. And in Brazil, it showed once again that no matter how sharp the tool behind the wheel is, if the machine is blunt, the result will never cut deep enough. Sprint qualifying in Brazil was more than just a missed session, it was a breaking point. For months, Lewis Hamilton has approached every weekend with professionalism and poise, even as the SF-25 dragged him down. But behind the calm exterior, there's a storm building. What Ferrari risks losing isn't just results, it's the trust of one of the greatest drivers in the history of the sport. Hamilton came to Ferrari with ambition. He didn't leave Mercedes to fade quietly, he came to lead a renaissance. But he didn't sign up for this. A car that bottoms out on braking. A chassis that responds like a prototype, not a race-winning tool. And a team that even now seems unsure whether it is building for consistency, peak performance, or just survival. That lack of clarity is as damaging as the car's limitations. Brazil 2025 symbolized everything wrong with the project so far. A teammate's spin ends your session. The FIA investigates you for something you didn't do. The car fails to give you confidence in any corner. And still, Hamilton had to stand in front of cameras and defend the direction of the project. That kind of pressure doesn't just wear on a driver, it cracks foundations. Now, with 4 races left, the question isn't whether Hamilton will finish the season strong. He will. The question is whether Ferrari can convince him that 2026 will be different. Because if the same structural flaws persist both in car development and strategic leadership, then a driver like Hamilton will start to look for influence beyond the track. He's here to build something, but no one builds on sand. The internal mood in Maranello is cautious. Engineers know they're behind. Hamilton's data is exposing issues they can't fix mid-season. His driving is masking performance, holes the simulator never predicted. And yet, he hasn't given up. That's the key. The fight is still there. But Ferrari has to match that fight with vision or risk losing the core of what this project was meant to become.